Hey guys, Tyrantt here. Today, I'm going to be doing a giveaway for NewBeeDrone's recently updated version of their Hummingbird RaceSpec. There's a few minor changes that have been made from the launch version of this bind and fly, thanks to NewBeeDrone listening to some of the feedback from within the community. So let's crack this open and see what it's all about, and watch till the end of the video because we're going to be giving this away to one lucky winner. All right, here it is in all its glory. So right off the bat, the most obvious change they made was to the camera canopy. Um, it's already a huge improvement from the previous version. This is what the previous version looked like, and you can see that it kind of bends up right here. And I was not a fan of that. And the reason being is it makes it so easy to push it back. And this is problematic because, if you fly into a wall, it's going to shove that camera right into the flight controller, and it can either bend the flight controller or it can like break off one of the components off the flight controller. That was something that I've been worried about since day one of this drone. So it's really nice to see that they listened to the feedback and upgraded it. So with this one, it bends down. And the reason why that's important is when you crash into something, what happens is when it bends down like that, it's going to fold into itself and kind of act as like a little cushion between the camera and the flight controller. Now, mind you, I don't like any contact at all with the flight controller. So, there's still a tiny, tiny chance of, this causing some sort of like flexion in the flight controller. But, the other thing too is with it folding down, it's a lot stiffer. So there's going to be a less of a chance of it actually making contact with that flight controller. So overall, it's a huge improvement, and I do plan on keeping it like this and using this canopy just to see how it ends up. One thing I will say I don't like about this canopy is the camera angle. The lowest camera angle setting sits roughly at 40 degrees, and that's kind of problematic because for most freestyle pilots, we're flying under 30. Maybe the more extreme pilots are at 35 degrees. But I would say the average pilot is somewhere around 20 to 30 degrees. Newer pilots or pilots who prefer a lower angle are going to sit between 10 to 20 degrees. So with the smallest angle being 40 degrees, it's going to make it a little bit tougher because you're going to be like hauling some serious ass flying around with this if you keep the camera looking at the horizon, which means you're essentially going to have to kind of like lean back a little bit and pay attention to the bottom of the screen rather than, trying to keep the horizon in the middle. Instead, you'll keep the horizon lower in the screen. And that'll kind of help slow you down. Another thing that they upgraded with this is the receiver component, the chip on here. I'm not entirely sure if they replaced the chip with the new one, but they did mention that they optimized it. So hopefully that means that those very few people that ran into issues with binding, they will no longer be running into those with this updated version. And the final thing is they updated the tune on this. The tune was already pretty good on the original one, but I will say it does fly a little bit better than the previous version. So if you do end up picking one of these up, check out the tune right out of the box before you decide to make any changes or find any presets. I do think it's pretty good, and I do not plan on changing the tune myself. And that about wraps up as far as the changes go. So let's talk about some of the things that we can upgrade. So again, my biggest complaint was the camera angle. So one camera mount that we could use is the BI. I think it's the BI. No, I'm sorry, the B Brain V2. I think it's like somewhere between $3 to $5 on NewBeeDrone. It's specifically made for the BI camera that's in this, so it'll snap right in behind these like little hooks here, and yeah, you just use 3 screws. I think it comes with tiny screws, but I would recommend using some of the fatter screws that come with some of these flight controllers. Oops. Of all the screws, I grabbed the one that's different, like this, and use it to hold it down. Because if the top is too thin, then it's just going to go right through that screw hole. Another upgrade you can make is the propellers. Now, before we go into that, I will say these Aussies are an upgrade compared to their previous version. I don't know when they changed it, but I do feel like the Aussies now are far more durable than they used to be. Um, in the past, they would shatter on me on the first crash. I've put maybe between these two RaceSpecs, I've probably put at least, I don't know, between 50 to 100 packs in them, and I still haven't broken any props. They do bend. They are pretty flimsy, so they might bend up. In that case, I'll just push them back down. They're good to go. But if you do want to upgrade them, I would recommend upgrading them to the GymFan 1219S lightweight prop. Let's weigh with them just to check them out. So I know you might not be able to see the weight, but the Aussie is sitting at 0.181 grams, and the 1219S GymFan is 0.79 grams. So for a set of 4, it looks like the weight difference is going to be like 0.06 grams. So not too much of a weight difference, but they are lighter and they're not as flimsy. They're a lot more durable. So I would say this would be a pretty good upgrade in my opinion. I would also recommend upgrading the pigtail. It uses the A30, which is pretty cool because you can use A30s and BT 2.0 lipos. But my biggest problem with it, the stock pigtail, is that it's not a 180 connector. So when you put a lipo in, let me just grab one over here, you slide it down and you plug it in, naturally it's going to kind of shift to this front position because it doesn't have much slack for it to get back. So what ends up happening, because it sits so far forward, is when you get into a crash, the lipo can kind of sometimes push between, and it can kind of sit out here or cause an eject. So I would recommend swapping the pigtail out for a BT 2.0 180 connector. It might weigh just a hair more than a normal connector, especially if you got this little plastic piece on the end. You can easily just peel it off with your nails. It's so easy. And then I would recommend maybe putting like a little bit of glue between the wires and the connector, and then just let it sit like that. I would recommend using E6000 or welder's glue. These are rubber glues that you can easily peel off in the event that you need to remove them for whatever reason. And that's about it for the modifications. One other thing that I forgot to point out, the stuff that comes out of the box, you do get a prop tool. So essentially, you're just going to feed it between the propeller and the motor, and then I kind of lift it up. And then it just kind of gets high enough where you could just kind of pull it off the rest of the way. I would recommend using it. Normally, I would never use the tool that comes with it. I like to use prop poppers. Here's the original one right here. Essentially, same thing. You stick it in, you push the little pin down between, and then it just pops right out. If you're interested in this, you can pick this up on tinywhoop.com. And it also comes with a spare canopy, which is great because I plan on replacing the first version of the RaceSpec canopy. Whoops, I grabbed the wrong one. I plan on replacing this one with this updated version. So that's nice to have. All right, so that about wraps it up for the differences with this upgraded version. I keep grabbing the wrong ones. So let's check out some flight video now. All right, so this was a lot of fun to fly. I was getting roughly around 2 minutes to 2 minutes and 15 seconds with this, which is less than the previous version because the canopy is different. This has a significantly steeper camera angle, which requires more throttle to stay up, which means you're going to be burning through your lipos a lot quicker. But it was still a lot of fun. I had a blast with this. I had some pretty good crashes, and it's still kicking. I like it a lot. I'm going to be adding it to my normal fleet that I like to fly with on weekends. So you're going to be seeing a lot more freestyle videos with this in the coming future. So now it's time to give it away. So rather than doing what you see on some other channels where it's like, oh, hit like, comment, and then we'll do a random giveaway, we're going to be doing a pro whooper style. So it's going to be a trick challenge. So essentially, I want you to do one power loop around any object. You can do it indoors, you can do it outdoors. That doesn't matter. All I care about is you fly under an object, you go up and over the object, and then you fly back around in one fluid motion. You can add any other tricks to it, you know, a freestyle, you know, any skits, but to qualify for this giveaway, you have to do a video. It's going to be 60 seconds long, and you have to do at least one power loop to gain an entry in the giveaway. I'm going to give you guys 2 weeks to do this. You should see the date somewhere on the screen. And at the conclusion of the deadline, we're going to be doing a live stream to show off everybody's power loop video. Everyone that did a qualifying video will be added to a pool, and then we're going to be doing a spin the wheel on live stream to determine who wins the RaceSpec bind and fly. There will be a submission link as well. The submission link will be down in the YouTube comments below. That's where you're going to post your video, and then that way I have everybody's videos all in one place, which makes the live stream more enjoyable to watch. So good luck. Have fun with your power loop challenge, and I'll see you guys here in a couple weeks to check out these challenge videos. So with that being said, have fun, happy whooping, and Tyrantt out.